Well, hey, everybody, we are here at Fuse 6 in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I am with, oh my gosh, guy who needs no introduction whatsoever. Todd Duncan is a legend in our industry, and as I said earlier, the best dressed man in the whole industry forever. So, Todd, it is awesome to be with you. You're speaking in about 50 minutes.
Looks like, yeah.
And I get to come up after you, which is not an enviable position to be in.
It's beautiful, though, the 1-2 punch, right?
The 1-2 punch.
We got this.
Yeah, so.
Thanks for having me.
Great to be with you.
Yeah.
Tell us about what you're doing right now and what your company's doing and what you guys are doing to help loan officers, and just talk about life.
Yeah. I think the thing that's easy to answer to that right now is we're helping people keep their faith alive in a very difficult market.
Yep.
And really working on the balancing act between mindset and action. And we know that mindset right now, it's all how we see what's going on that determines how we act. And if we operate from a position of fear, Dale, instead of faith,
Yep.
we kind of talk ourselves out of the very things that we need to be doing to generate business and relationships. So what we're trying to do is get people to start thinking about, this is a season, right? And all seasons change. And if you have the right mindset going through a difficult season, you will then have a harvest of bounty and plenty and abundance.
Yep.
Whenever the hard market becomes easier. And you and I have been around long enough to know that good markets are always followed by hard, and hard are always followed by good. And so it's not really the market that you have. And what we're telling people is it's what you do in that market. I'll give you one example. One of our top coaching clients, everybody embraces in high trust selling more from less. You know, how do you get deeper partnerships, and how do you have more connection, therefore then more referrals, right? And you can do that right now in today's market till the cows come home. But if your number was 10 partners last year, it can't be 10 this year.
That's exactly
There's just
right.
not enough business.
Yep.
So what I told her is, I said, why don't you spread your wings? And she goes, what does spreading my wings mean? I said, well, why don't you talk about getting everybody together and ask them to bring one person to a lunch and learn? Super simple idea, right? She had a year before blown out 10 cubicles in her office, built a space in her office to train realtors, and she started doing lunch and learns weekly. It holds 30 people. 30 people wasn't enough to keep her business going.
That's right.
So she said, what would you do? And I said, I'd find a hotel. And I'd invite 100. And she goes, what, 100? I go, yeah. And she goes, well, what would I talk about? I go, why don't you pick 3 or 4 realtors in town that are top producers that you're not doing business with?
Yep.
And why don't you pick 2 that you are, put a high performance panel together, lead the panel, you be the facilitator, lead the panel, and then follow up with everybody that attends and see what happens. So I get a text from her yesterday. This was 2 months ago. She had 91 people show up. She did the deal, locked $5 million in loans in the next 2 weeks. And out of the 3 people on the panel that she didn't know, she's getting business from 2. And yesterday had a 5-hour high trust interview. And I got to say, she wasn't sitting down like this in an office. She took that 3rd realtor and they went to the mountains in Utah and hiked and just got to know each other. The end of the hike, the realtor goes, I don't know why, I've known you for 5 years, but we've never done business. So you do that kind of stuff right now. You spread your wings. You can pull it back in whenever the market gets a little bit better. But if you're not waking up, thinking about opportunity, and doing the things that everybody else is afraid of doing, you will more than likely get those same hard, painful results.
Exactly right.
Add the inventory issue, add the interest rate issue. We got to spread our wings, and we got to follow up like we've never followed up, and we got to add more value. And today I'm going to be talking about a new concept called the conversion code. And it's amazing when you start to look at the language of a conversation. The breakthrough here was we took that familiar 80-20 rule.
Yep.
And about 2 years ago, I said, how do you innovate a 40-minute interview with a realtor? Well, what would 80-20 of 40 minutes look like? So then I started thinking, is it possible to get somebody to know, love, and trust you in 10 minutes instead of 40 minutes? And then we started testing that in our elite group and started working on it. So today I'm going to talk about 3 things that for every loan originator, broker, and even for the manager, CEO particularly, for every 1%, we can improve the borrower yes to a loan that funds out on an average loan amount of $420,000 at 100 basis points. It's an extra $1,800 a month. So if you improve that by 6%, it's almost $12,000 a month.
Wow.
So what we're trying to tell people, Dale, is get better at the things that work, execute them more quickly than in the past, and multiple times during the day, have this reset. This is not going to last forever.
Right.
And everything we do today is the seed planting for tomorrow.
I absolutely love when you said faith over fear.
Yeah.
You know, this is a mindset game today. You and I have been doing this for a long time. You've been 32 years doing this as a speaker, and longer than that in the business. I've been doing it for 28 or 29, 40 years in the business, probably like you. And we've seen these cycles come and go. And it always comes back to the same thing. Are you doing the right things with the right mindset every single day?
With the right people.
With the right people.
Yeah.
Exactly
right things, right mindset, right people.
Exactly right.
That's a triple whammy right there.
Yep.
You do that and you scale. I mean, think about this. Think about the fact that there's still going to be millions and millions of home loans funded this year, and next year, millions and millions of home loans. What do you need to have a great career?
Yep.
Is it 100? Is it 200? How many families do you want to take care of? Because everybody needs to move from scarcity thinking to abundant thinking.
Yep.
I mean, you'd be surprised if we take that conversion code thing, and let's just say we start at 20 and we can build it to 40. You're going to go from 16 loans a month to 32 loans a month. Almost everybody in the mortgage world could retire faster with 32 fundings a month.
Yeah.
And you're not talking to more people. And that's the skill set.
Right.
It's like every manager say, well, go call on more people. If I were a branch manager today, I would say, go call on better people.
That's
and if you're afraid to call on better people, skill up, because every pro knows what to say in a selling situation. If you don't know what to say, fear takes over.
Yep.
You know what's interesting? If you're like really game ready and you know what to say, fear goes as an acronym to feeling excited and ready.
I love that.
So think about making calls, call reluctance. Oh my gosh, I haven't made calls in 2 years because loans are falling out of heaven. Well, if you have any fear in making a call, you won't make the call.
That's right.
And the more you don't make a call that you know you should make, the less you feel positive in your own self-esteem.
Exactly right.
Which then propels negative kind of mindset challenges, right? Even the Bible says, you know, he who neglects discipline will despise himself.
That's right.
And so we gotta take action. So then if you know like what to say and you know it works and the odds are in your favor that you will be able to connect and convert, then you would go, I'm so excited to make calls today. And I know people that are watching and listening to this are probably going, that's just not going to work. I can get excited till the cows come. Well, first of all, half the industry is scared to death right now. Half of the other half doesn't know what to do.
Yep.
So you have less competition if you just figure out what to do right. So, and you know, it'll never, ever, ever move away from fundamentally, this is a humanity business.
I love that you mentioned that. You know, high trust selling, which is what you have created, probably have trained and impacted the lives of more loan officers than any human being in the industry. And I want to thank you for that personally, because that's amazing.
Yeah, thanks.
And it's based on biblical principles. You and I share the same faith in Christ, and that drives the way we teach and train and live our lives. And I love that you talk about in that knowing, loving, trusting. Okay, the three principles that you have taught forever have that. What I see today, and I want to hear your thought on this. What I see today is one of the major problems outside of mindset is we are too addicted to technologies to try to use them in a way to create our success, and it voids relationship.
Yeah.
And I'm a firm believer, and I know you are too. I don't care how much technology is out there. You got to be high tech, high touch. You've got to combine that with incredible relationships where you know your customers. You know, we've always had that. Our whole company's built on the other's first principle, which is off of Philippians 2, 3, and 4. Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit, but in all things with humility. Value others above yourself. That's, to me, the way that you have to sell today with your partners, with your customers, working with your colleagues. So talk a little bit about know, love, and trust, because some people probably heard you say that earlier and like, wait a minute, know, love, and trust?
Yeah.
That's in business? Of course it is. Talk about that.
Well, it's the ultimate, right? Because if everybody understands that there is a fundamental decision that you have to make. You cannot, as a loan officer or an owner of a mortgage company, you cannot have two operating systems with two different value propositions.
That's right.
So if you do what I did when I was 23, my mentor said, you have to choose between relationships and transactions. And I said, why? And he said, because transactions will make you a living, relationships will make you a fortune.
Bingo.
And so
Love that.
the fortune is not just the money. The fortune is the love, the trust, and the knowledge of how I can serve you and how I can help you. If you were to poll 20,000 loan officers today, which we've done over the last 12 months, and ask them, how many of you know the top 3 goals that your referral partners have?
Right.
And you're meeting weekly to help them with those?
It's almost none.
2%.
Yeah.
So you got 98% of the loan officers out there that don't know how to create knowledge, love, and trust.
That's right.
So then if technology is the, quote, strategy of the day and you hide behind it, you're never going to have the humanity piece, which then drives, you're only going to be as good as your product line.
Yep.
You're only going to be as good as your interest rates. You're only going to be as good as what your company's driving the company to have in the marketplace. If I want to go few relationships, high value, more business,
Yep.
for me, that's a better model than a lot of referrals from a lot of people without relationship,
Right.
because that's going to be price driven versus relationship driven. The other thing is when we talk about this conversion code, what's interesting is that, like, if you're a borrower and you and your wife know, love, and trust me and my team, you will go out of your way to tell the people that you know, love, and trust, that know, love, and trust you, right. that if you haven't done business with Dale, this is who you need to use.
That's
this
right.
is our mortgage partner. And so the value today is not only what you said, high tech, high trust. I put it in, or high touch. I put in this order: high trust first,
Right.
high touch second,
Yep.
high tech third.
That's right.
Look at Stratmore. Look at any of these service, experience.com and all these social sites. And the bottom line is that people that today are using any sense of technology to do anything, it is the simple art of loving on your clients. It's not like automated marketing. It's not like, Google searching's fine. Trying to check somebody out on LinkedIn's fine, as long as you're going to take action and it's purposeful.
That's right.
But at the end of the day, hiding behind technology because you're afraid or worried about technology. It's like AI. Like I asked ChatGPT the other day to write me a 3-page contract for this type of product that had these types of provisions and blah, 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 blah. And within 32 seconds, I had a contract. We have a script bot in our app called Sales Fuel, and you can literally say your script, record your script, and the bot will take the script and perfect it for you.
Wow.
So that takes conversion up. But I want to give somebody a simple idea. So on August 16th, what is that, 6 weeks ago from this recording?
Yeah.
August 16th at 4:00 in the afternoon, California time, I call Sydney, Australia. This is the 31st year I've made the call I am making at 4:00 on August 16th. Guy picks up on the other end. His name is John Simon. He's 72 years old. Started one of the best mortgage brokerage companies ever in the history of Australia. Sold it to one of the big banks, made $1 billion selling it, and came to my High Trust Sales Academy in 1994. And he said, do you know, picture this, do you know that you are the only person that I know that every year for more than 3 decades has called me on my birthday?
It's amazing.
So what I'm getting at is, like, if I know that date right now, but my phone reminds me the morning of the 16th, whose birthdays are today. And for him, it'd be across the international date line. So, but he called back 2 days later and he goes, I got a friend of mine that's got 1,000 loan officers. I told him what you did for us. You need to give him a call. All I did, Dale, was wish him a happy birthday.
That's it. But for the 31st
31st year in a row.
That's right.
So I've got over 9,000 people on my phone that I say happy birthday to. And I'll do a video, or if I really want to connect, I'll call. And, no text. It's a video. It's like,
what a difference.
That's the best technology in the world.
Absolutely.
So what if I do that in the parking lot after a live meeting with a borrower or a realtor? What if I say, but like when I get hired to speak, one of my operating systems is when I get in the car on the way to the airport, I'll record a video to the guy or gal that hired me and paid me. and I'll record a video that they can send to everybody in the audience, thanking them for their time and spending time with me between the time I leave and the time I get on the plane.
Love it.
But that's technology, isn't it?
It is.
It's an operating system. I'm going to send video.
That's right.
So I think right now we're over reliant on technology, and it's never going to have a heart.
Yep.
Technology will never bleed red blood.
That's right. It was interesting. You mentioned Stratmore. You know Garth Graham, I'm sure.
Yeah, really well.
Garth and I, he was on my podcast recently, and before that, him and I spoke at the Lending Tree Summit last year. And he made a great quote at that session. He was talking about purchase transactions, said, if you're at a cocktail place or you're out at some kind of a meeting with people and you're just standing there and you're talking to somebody and say, I'm buying a home. What's the first thing you're going to say to them? You're not going to say to them, how much you putting down?
Right.
What is your credit score? What you're going to say is, really? Why?
Yeah.
You're going to treat them like a human. You talk about humanity.
Right.
And that's what's missing today in the marketplace is we're still trying to make this so transactional. And you're absolutely right. That's never going to get it done.
It's just not sustainable.
It's not sustainable.
Right.
You have got to build relationships that expand.
Right.
I love when you talked about the family tree.
Yeah.
When they know, love, and trust you, they're going to talk to their family tree. They're going to talk to their friends. They're going to talk to their colleagues. That's how you build a multi-million-dollar business, is you build it all through relationship.
Yeah.
And technology layers on top.
We had one borrower that we did a loan for. I was 24. He was a physician. And his wife's name was Janet. His name was Tim. And about 4 weeks after closing, he called me and said, hey, yesterday I was playing golf with Ed Francis. Ed's the CEO of a local bank here in Tustin. They don't do mortgage loans. He asked me how my home loan experience was with you.
Yeah.
And I said it was off the charts. So he said, could you have Todd call me? Because we don't offer mortgage loans to our deposit base. And I would love to have a partnership. So I call Ed, we sit down. I learned that they have 3,500 depositors.
Wow.
And Debbie, who's the real estate agent that referred me to Tim and Janet, and she's going, you what? I said, no, I think we're going to get 30 deals for you this year out of this bank. And what people need to understand is that if you don't pay massive attention to the borrower that is in front of you to create this knowledge, trust, and love.
That's right.
You are not going to be able to execute the family tree and this referability, this referral by design kind of mentality.
Yep.
And the thing that people don't understand is that if you refer me to somebody that you love and you look that person in the eyes and say, I promise you, this will be the best mortgage experience you guys have ever had, I'll stand behind it.
Yeah.
When they and I talk to each other, they're not going to go, Dale speaks so highly of you, but before we go any further, what are your interest rates? We're not going to do that.
No.
So when we go 1-to-1,
Yep.
and we stay 1-to-1 instead of 1-to-101,
Yep.
then we have influence and we have trust and we get to yes faster.
Yep.
Which is the whole reason we do this. We want to have relationships for life. It makes everything easier.
It does.
Yeah.
I could sit and listen to you for
It's
hours,
fine.
my friend.
I could sit and talk with you for hours.
I know that you've got a speaking engagement coming up here soon, so I want to be respectful of your time. How do people contact you for coaching? Because there's no better investment they can make than working with your team. Talk a little bit about that.
I think you just go to toddduncan.com and you can do a drop down and schedule a free coaching consultation. One of our guys will get on the phone with you and kind of look through what you're looking for. And if it makes sense, they'll tell you about some of the options. And we'd love to serve the industry. I hired my first coach when I was 24 and it was $450 a month. And my mentor said, you're never gonna regret it. And I go, I already regret it. He goes, you're not going to regret it. 30 days later, I made $6,000 because of what that coach told me. So toddduncan.com is the resource. If they want to connect on socially, it's Todd Duncan Official on LinkedIn and Instagram.
Yeah. Proverbs tells us iron sharpens iron.
Proverbs 17.
Yep.
7, I think. Iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another.
Exactly.
You're sharp.
Love you, my friend.
Thanks, Dale.
Thanks for taking
Very
the time.
good hang with you. I can't wait to hear your speech too.
All
today.
right. Yours too. Looking forward to it. God bless you.
All right.